Elon Musk wants to kill NASA's space station. Yes, you heard that right. The same station that's been Dragon's lifeline for years. Dragon has made 30-plus successful trips to the ISS. It's SpaceX's moneymaker. But Musk is ready to sacrifice it all for Mars missions. Here's the problem. Starship keeps failing. Fuel leaks, explosions, broken systems. Meanwhile, Dragon works perfectly every single time. So why destroy what's working? The real reason will shock you. Let's dive right in. Right now, Dragon is SpaceX's golden goose. Every single mission to the ISS brings in millions. NASA pays top dollar for these rides, and Dragon delivers flawlessly. 0 failures, 0 casualties. Perfect track record. But then Musk dropped a bombshell that made the entire space industry freeze. He wants the ISS retired. Not in 2030 as planned. Now, stop and think about this for a moment. You have a money printing machine that works perfectly. Your customers love it. Your competitors can't match it. And you want to destroy it? This is where it gets absolutely bizarre. Dragon isn't just successful. It's America's only way to get astronauts to space independently. Before Dragon, NASA had to beg rides from Russia. Embarrassing? Absolutely. Expensive? You bet. Musk's obsession with Mars isn't new. But here's what most people don't know. Internally at SpaceX, everything revolves around the red planet. Every meeting, every decision, every dollar spent, it all comes back to Mars. The ISS, it's just a stepping stone. Dragon, a practice run. Musk sees them as distractions from the real goal. But here's the million-dollar question that's driving everyone crazy. Is he right? Let's look at the cold, hard numbers. Dragon has completed over 30 missions. Starship, 0 operational flights. Dragon can carry 7 astronauts safely. Starship exploded on its last test flight. So why bet everything on the unproven rocket? Because Musk believes Dragon's success is actually holding SpaceX back. Here's where things get technical, but stay with me because this is absolutely crucial. Dragon was designed for one job: ferry people and cargo to low Earth orbit. It's like a really expensive taxi service. Reliable? Yes. Revolutionary? Not really. Starship is completely different. It's not just a rocket, it's a complete transportation system. Think of Dragon as a bicycle and Starship as a freight train. Both work, but they're built for completely different purposes. The problem? Starship keeps breaking. Flight after flight, something goes catastrophically wrong. Fuel leaks during ascent, heat shield tiles falling off, engine failures, landing attempts that end in massive explosions. Most recently, Starship has been plagued by what engineers call persistent leak issues. These aren't small problems. We're talking about fuel systems, heat shields, even the pressure vessels that keep astronauts alive. But here's the mind-bending twist. Musk sees these failures as progress. Each explosion teaches SpaceX something new. Each failure gets them closer to Mars. Is he insane? Or is he a genius? Now here's where the story gets really interesting. Dragon might be too successful for its own good. SpaceX has built 5 Dragon capsules. Each one is certified for 5 flights. That's 25 missions total. Sounds like a lot, right? Wrong. One Dragon has already completed its full cycle. 3 others are close behind. By SpaceX's own calculations, they have maybe 7 Dragon missions left before they need to build new capsules. But Musk just announced something that sent shock waves through the industry. Dragon 5 might be the last one they ever build. Why would you stop building your most successful product? Because every dollar spent on Dragon is a dollar not spent on Starship. This is corporate suicide or brilliant strategy. The International Space Station is dying, not metaphorically, literally falling apart. Air leaks are becoming more frequent. Critical systems are failing daily. The station is over 25 years old and it shows. NASA's official retirement date is 2030, but insiders whisper it might not make it that long. Recent budget proposals include massive cuts to ISS operations. Translation: fewer missions, less money, and Dragon's biggest customer might disappear sooner than expected. But here's what makes this really dangerous. There's no backup plan. Commercial space stations like Axiom and Vast are still years away. If the ISS dies early, Dragon becomes a spaceship with nowhere to go. Musk knows this, and instead of fighting to save the ISS, he's planning to let it die. Cold? Yes. Smart? Maybe. While NASA debates ISS funding, private companies are quietly building the future. Vast Space just announced their station will launch in 2026. Axiom is close behind. These aren't government projects. They're private businesses. Dragon is already contracted to support these new stations. SpaceX gets to keep the revenue stream while ditching the political headaches of government contracts. But here's the brilliant part. These commercial stations are designed to work with Starship too. Once Starship is operational, it can carry more people and cargo than Dragon ever could. Musk isn't just abandoning the ISS, he's positioning SpaceX to dominate the entire commercial space industry. There's another player in this game that most people completely ignore: China. Their space program is advancing faster than anyone expected. China's space station is already operational. They're planning Mars sample return missions. Some intelligence reports suggest they could beat NASA to Mars with a crewed mission. This is Musk's nightmare scenario. All the money and effort spent on Dragon and the ISS, while China quietly builds the infrastructure for Mars colonization. Starship isn't just about Mars, it's about making sure America gets there first. And every day Dragon flies to the ISS is another day China gets ahead. The race is on, and America might be losing. Let's talk about what makes Starship so special. Dragon can carry 7 people to low Earth orbit. Starship can carry 100 people to Mars. Dragon uses traditional rocket fuel. Starship uses methane, which can be produced on Mars. Dragon relies on Earth for everything. Starship is designed for true interplanetary travel. The size difference is staggering. Dragon's cargo bay is about the size of a large SUV. Starship's is the size of a 3-story building. But here's the catch. None of this matters if Starship can't stop exploding. And right now it can't. SpaceX doesn't talk about this publicly, but Starship has a serious leak problem. Not just fuel leaks, everything leaks. Propulsion systems, fuel tanks, heat shields, even the life support systems. These aren't minor issues. In space, a leak can kill you. Mars missions require perfect reliability for months or years. Dragon has that reliability. Starship doesn't. So why is Musk so confident? Because he believes the leak problem is solvable. Dragon had similar issues during development. Every spacecraft does. The question is, can SpaceX solve Starship's problems before Dragon's usefulness runs out? Time is running out. Here's the money side of this story. Dragon missions generate steady revenue. Starship development burns money like rocket fuel. SpaceX has spent billions on Starship with zero operational revenue. Meanwhile, Dragon has earned hundreds of millions in contracts. From a business perspective, Musk's plan seems insane. You're killing your profitable product to fund your money-losing experiment. But Musk isn't thinking like a normal business owner. He's thinking like a revolutionary. Dragon gets SpaceX to orbit. Starship gets humanity to Mars. NASA's Artemis program adds another layer to this story. Starship is supposed to land astronauts on the moon by 2027. That's less than 3 years away. But Starship still can't perform basic functions like consistent engine performance or controlled landings. How can it possibly be ready for lunar missions? If Starship fails Artemis, NASA might need Dragon for lunar missions. The capsule could be modified for deep space operations. It's been done before. Apollo command modules were adapted for different missions. This gives Dragon unexpected value, not just for ISS missions, but as a backup for America's lunar ambitions. Musk recently announced SpaceX is planning an uncrewed Mars mission next year. Industry experts call this timeline ambitious, which is a polite way of saying impossible. But here's what's really interesting. If SpaceX actually pulls this off, it changes everything. A successful Mars mission would prove Starship works. Dragon would instantly become obsolete. The timing is crucial. Dragon's usefulness ends around 2027 to 2028. Starship's Mars window opens in 2026. Musk is literally racing against time. Retiring the ISS isn't just an American decision. The space station represents decades of international cooperation. Russia, Europe, Japan, and Canada all have stakes in the program. If America pulls out early, it could damage relationships with key allies. But it could also force other nations to choose: stick with the dying ISS or join America's Mars program. Musk is betting that Mars is more attractive than low Earth orbit. He's probably right. Here's what I think is really happening. Musk isn't just retiring Dragon, he's forcing the entire space industry to evolve. By killing the ISS, he eliminates the safety net that lets other companies move slowly. Commercial space stations will need to launch faster. Competitors will need to develop better spacecraft. It's a high-risk strategy that could backfire spectacularly. But if it works, SpaceX becomes the undisputed leader in human spaceflight. We're approaching a critical moment in space history. The decisions made in the next 2 years will determine who leads humanity's expansion into the solar system. Musk is betting everything on Mars. China is building their own space infrastructure. Europe and Russia are struggling to keep up. Dragon represents the old way of doing things: careful, cautious, government-funded. Starship represents the new way: bold, risky, privately funded. Which approach will win? The answer will reshape human civilization. So here's the truth about Musk's Dragon gamble. He's not just retiring a spacecraft, he's rewriting the rules of space exploration. Dragon gave us reliable access to space, but reliable isn't enough anymore. While we've been playing it safe in low Earth orbit, China is building Mars infrastructure. The clock is ticking. Dragon's final missions are already scheduled. Starship's Mars window opens in just 2 years, and humanity's future hangs in the balance. This isn't just about SpaceX. It's about which vision of humanity's future will win: the careful, step-by-step approach or the bold leap into the unknown. What do you think? Is Musk a visionary, or is he gambling with America's space dominance? Drop your thoughts below, because this debate is just getting started. And if you want to dive deeper into the Mars race, our next video breaks down China's secret space program. Trust me, what they're building will shock you. The space race isn't about rockets anymore. It's about who gets to write the next chapter of human history. Are we ready for what comes next? NASA just killed Artemis. The presidential budget request was clear: terminate SLS and Orion after Artemis 3, cancel Gateway completely. America's moon program? Dead. Then Congress did something shocking. While you were celebrating July 4th, they quietly threw $10 billion at a dying program. Not just saved it, rescued it completely. But here's what's crazy. That same week, the 400-foot launch tower for Artemis reached full height at Kennedy, a tower for rockets that were supposed to be canceled. Coincidence? How did a program marked for death suddenly get $4.1 billion in funding through 2032? What really happened behind closed doors? Let's dive right in. Let's start with what almost happened. The presidential budget request for 2026 wasn't just bad news. It was a complete execution order. NASA's Artemis program, which had already consumed $93 billion, was about to be chopped into pieces. The plan was brutal: terminate the Space Launch System and Orion spacecraft after Artemis 3, cancel the Gateway lunar station entirely, and essentially abandon America's return to the moon. Think about that for a second. We're talking about a program that took 20 years to develop, involved thousands of engineers, and represented America's answer to China's growing space dominance. All of it gone. But here's where it gets interesting. Someone in Congress clearly had other plans. While most Americans were focused on barbecues and fireworks, something extraordinary was happening in the halls of Congress. A bill was moving through the system. Not just any bill, what insiders called the Big Beautiful Bill. And buried deep inside its pages was the biggest space policy reversal in decades. This wasn't your typical budget discussion. This was a reconciliation bill, which means the money goes on top of whatever NASA eventually gets in the formal budget process. Translation? Congress was about to throw serious cash at a supposedly dead program. But why? What changed between the death sentence and the rescue? The answer lies in what was happening at Kennedy Space Center that exact same week. Picture this. While Congress was debating Artemis's fate, contractor Bechtel was putting the finishing touches on Mobile Launcher 2. This isn't just any tower. It's a 400-foot engineering marvel designed specifically for the SLS Block 1B rocket, the same rocket that was supposed to be canceled. Module 10, the final piece of this massive puzzle, was being hoisted into place. 7 modules total, confusingly numbered 4 through 10. Why the weird numbering? Because modules 1, 2, and 3 were scrapped during design changes. Already, this tower had survived one round of cuts. Here's the kicker. This tower costs hundreds of millions of dollars and serves exactly one purpose: launching the